In this episode of UpTech Report, we talk with Khorus CEO Joel Trammell. Khorus is a strategy execution software built for CEOs to track performance. Joel shares how he's positioned his tool to help CEOs, thoughts on growth, future plans, and also how he continues to personally innovate. Thanks, Joel, for joining us. I'm excited to learn more, understanding how you've grown in your business and where you guys are going in trajectory and how you are innovating as you move forward. To start us off, where are you joining us from today?
I'm from Austin, Texas.
Awesome. And what year did you start your business?
We started the business in 2014.
Gotcha. And the industry that you primarily serve is?
Well, we serve CEOs across really a wide range of industries. We've had users in the nonprofit sector, the technology sector, really across all industries, as long as they have a significant organization of 50 or more people.
Got it. 50 or more people. And it's really the opportunity for them to get on. Tell me more about the pain point that you're solving with your platform.
Yeah, so I've spent a long time as an entrepreneur and grown businesses. And, when you start out with 0 to 20 employees or so, you can get everybody in the room, you can get them aligned, you can change directions. And then as the business grows from 20 to 50 to 100, suddenly you no longer can get everybody in the same room, and you're dealing with issues where you don't know exactly what everybody does. And so getting employees aligned across the organization is one of the key pain points we deal with in our business.
How many customers do you currently have on your platform?
Yeah, we have about 60 companies running on our platform.
That's awesome. And that translates obviously to even more team members from those companies on there.
Right. We average probably close to 100 employees per customer.
Gotcha. So you're almost, the math there is
6,000.
I'm not a numbers guy, but that's fascinating to then have all that traction and communication happening on the platform. What is then the average package of pricing? How do you, is it a membership type mindset that you approach, or?
It's a monthly per user model. So $15 per month per user is this kind of standard pricing.
Gotcha. And the name of your company, Khorus, interesting name to, I guess, harmony, bring unity.
Yes. Get everyone singing from the same hymnal, but spelled with a K instead of the C. I guess I was too cheap to buy the CHORUS domain name, so we use KHORUS.
I feel like it's a common thing to happen with SaaS platforms. You get the domain you can.
That's right.
and you build with it. Speaking of then the technology, tell me more about what kind of intellectual property you have that you built in that is providing value to your customers.
Yeah, so my history, I started my first business 29 years ago. And so then I became unqualified to do anything else, and you keep doing it. And so I've been CEO for most of those last 29 years of one organization or another. And so in doing that, you pick up a lot of tips and tricks and understandings of the job. And so a lot of that methodology, the way to think about the job, what you should be doing in the job is baked into the platform.
So it's really taking the knowledge that you have and then platformizing it, putting it into a platform and automating your ability to educate. If you were to do it one-on-one, that would take forever. And
right.
So how have you found that journey to take your knowledge and then to automate it through a platform?
Yeah, so an example is, one of the key roles of CEO is to look into the future. As the leader of the organization, your job's to anticipate the future and deal in the future. And a lot of CEOs, it takes time to get used to that because most jobs you're doing in the past and present. And so, if you like Jim Collins' analogy of the CEO being a bus driver, and so you're there driving the bus, a lot of information you get back from your organization is data. And data is great, but by definition, it's historical. Data is something that's already happened. Well, your job as bus drivers to look down the road. So I often equate, if all you're getting is data feeds from your organization, it's like having the smart aleck kid sitting a row behind you on the bus. You as the bus driver, you hit a pothole, and about 5 seconds later, the kid says, "Hey driver, you hit a pothole." And you just want to kind of turn around and slap the kid upside the head and say, "Next time, why don't you tell me before I hit the pothole?" So one of the core concepts of Khorus is that we get predictions from every employee in the organization. Instead of saying, "Feed me data, tell me what happened yesterday or the day before," we say, using your best judgment, your knowledge of the job, and whatever data you collect in your particular role, Your job is to make a prediction about what's likely to happen and give me a view into the future.
That's powerful to have the knowledge from your own team members telling you what they see. They probably see things you may not from a certain level. Everyone's from a different perspective.
That's right. And, everybody knows more about their job than I do as the CEO because I'm not doing it every day. And so I need a way to easily harness that visibility. And we say at Khorus, we're the only company in the world that collects predictive insight from every employee each week.
So you started this, you said we, so you have a couple partners?
Yes, we have a company.
and from this, have you been bootstrapping it? Did you raise some funds? What was the growth like?
Yeah, so I've been fortunate in my career to have had some successful exits previously, and so I can afford to fund the majority of the effort myself. I do have a few folks friends and family who've invested with me before and done well that put some money in, but it's all owned internally at this point.
It's not an easy road to be an entrepreneur and grow your own business, though you have years of experience, doesn't necessarily make it easier. Any lessons learned or hurdles that you had to overcome in the past few years that you can share with someone else who's particularly actually thinking about, hey, how can I take my knowledge and build a platform around this?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. People think the second, the third time's easier, and I tell people it's not easier. It's a little bit like the second and third kid. You know what to expect, but it's not near as exciting either. They're going to throw up in the middle of the night, or they're going to cry, or that isn't necessarily something to look forward to. So there are pluses and minuses to having the experience of building the business, but you got to do something that you're excited about. You believe you're adding value. And then you got to stick with it because no business is just up and to the right all the time. Every business has challenges, has times. I've just recently read a book about Uber and all the challenges they went through. That was a crazy journey. And I think every business has its ups and downs, and you just got to be confident that you're doing something that provides value and that customers will recognize that over time.
Stick with it. It's a good piece of advice to say. And I appreciate your analogy to children. I have two, and my second one, you're right. It doesn't make it any easier. You know what's happening, but you still have to go through it.
That's right.
Partnerships, APIs, connections. Obviously, there's benefits to be able to connect with other pieces of outside resources or other websites. Have you built any, or do you have any on the roadmap?
Yeah, we take an interesting view as far as the way we look at our platform. We look at it as a platform for the CEO, and we actually intentionally don't connect to other data sources because, again, we want the human element. We want the human intelligence in the company to come through. And what happens when you connect to a data source is you basically then are responsible as the CEO for managing that area. Whoever interprets the data for the area, they're the kind of head of that area. And so I've seen a lot of CEOs that really, I think, mess themselves up because they want to look at every deal they're working in sales or whatever. Well, if you do that, you're effectively being the VP of sales. You're not being the CEO. And so, we intentionally don't connect to other platforms in order to force the employees that sign up for their particular goals and objectives to make predictions and be accountable. Hey, you told me you're going to get it done. Go get it done. How you get it done, that's your challenge. Whether you get it done, that's what I need to monitor as CEO.
I imagine for a platform like yours where it relies on the other team members, employees to engage with it, so top down, have you found any issues or solutions, that's even better, on helping these CEOs to say, hey, people, you better get on the platform using it? Any tips?
Yeah, there's certainly that. What we find is typically the CEO is very excited because they're going to get access to information they haven't had before. So they're a big fan. And then what we find is typically the individual contributors are also get very excited because it's the first time in many cases they've seen how what they do really contributes to the greater whole. So you may have a CEO that's up, giving a presentation and he's talking about the profit we're going to make or the earnings per share or something, and they can't relate what they do on a day-to-day basis to that. But with this platform, it gives you the ability to see kind of up and down the whole organization, what everybody's working on. If we get pushback, it's often kind of from mid-level management or the executive team that says, oh, I don't need another platform. I've got Salesforce if I'm a sales guy. And what they're not understanding is that's great for sales, but the marketing people probably don't understand. And certainly the CFO and the product people aren't in Salesforce every day. They can't understand that data. They don't know how to interpret it. And so the ability to function as a team is what we really provide by producing a playbook that everybody can kind of follow what's going on in the organization.
Got it. Are you plan on using any sorts of automation of AI or machine learning to aggregate data, or is it really meant for the CEO to read through each of the updates that team members bring?
There are certainly some opportunities as we get history with people predicting information to learn how good somebody is at predicting to help them manage their predictions. What you want over time, obviously, is you want people to get better. And what we find when we first deploy the platform is a lot of people in an organization typically haven't been asked to predict their job, right? And so we, kind of by process are asking every week, hey, predict how you're going to do this. And so most people are very poor at it. But over time, as they practice it, they get better and better. And you can even, if you want to calculate a score, kind of your predictability, how accurate you are in predicting. And, if you're a CEO, that's what you get judged on, delivering predictable performance. I mean, whether if you're a public company, you go to Wall Street every quarter and say, here's what we're going to do next quarter. And if you miss that, even often by just a couple of cents a share, often you can lose millions or even billions off a market cap just because of that. And so, I'm a big believer, if you want to build a predictable organization, you got to teach everybody in the organization how to make those predictions.
Moving forward, what's your 5-year goal? Where do you see your company in 5 years from now?
Yeah, I think the big opportunity, when I talk about a CEO platform, most people look at me and go, what would that be? There's really not that understanding. And so we're creating a market. Anytime you're creating a market, there's a challenge. I would hope for within 5 years that, boards of directors, experienced CEOs start looking for a platform and thinking, yes, just like, it took a while before Salesforce was adopted, right? There's a great story in the beginning of Mark Benioff's book where he's sitting down with Michael Dell at the beginning of Salesforce and he's about to quit. He says, I'm going to go back to Oracle and sell software because I can make $1 million a year doing that. And this Salesforce thing's really hard. It's really hard getting people to adopt it. And Michael famously says, no, I think I'd stay with it a little while longer if I, and then everything worked, right? And so I think it's a little bit the same thing here. I hope in 5 years from now, you've got boards, you've got experienced CEOs, you've got other mentors who are saying, if you're a good CEO, you're running the company using a systematic methodology and a software platform to help you do that, just like every other executive in your organization probably is today.
Would you say that moving forward to realize this vision, it's kind of crossing the chasm of people realizing, oh, this exists and wow, this could help me? Would you agree with that's a hurdle to overcome?
Oh, absolutely. It's an educational aspect. At this point, you do it one company at a time, and then they, maybe tell one or two of their friends, they know, hey, this is cool. I never had this visibility before. Can't imagine running an organization without this. And that's what I think our CEOs see. Once they had that information, those predictions, going back and looking at raw data just doesn't make any sense anymore. It's just, it's not interesting once they've had predictions.
For you, as obviously the space is always changing and you are trying to be innovative and providing this new technology, what are you doing yourself to innovate and keep current in your space?
Yeah, so I spend a lot of time on the phone with CEOs. Right before this, I was on with one of our customers and asking them, what other functionality, what other problems can we solve for you? But understanding, the CEO role, talking to as many different roles, different industries, different, we have nonprofits, we have for-profits, and so there have been a lot of uses. We even have some fast food restaurants. I never would have thought a fast food restaurant would have the challenge that a large technology company does, but they like it and are using it. So it's interesting to see the application seems to be quite broad. And so it's just a matter of visiting with those folks and figuring out what's next.
Have you seen a company using AI, machine learning, or other technology to transform the way we live, work, and do business? Go to uptechreport.com and let us know.